Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, and other role players. Tune in every week for our latest episode. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Welcome back to About the Winelands. Today we're talking to Sjaak Nelson. He's the head winemaker at Jordan in Stellenbosch. Good morning, Sjaak, and welcome to About the Winelands.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
No, thanks for taking your time. I think I suppose you guys are quite busy at this stage with everything reopening and stuff like that.
Yes, trying to stock up the warehouses all over the country and trying to get exports going out. And also, now that money is coming in, we can bottle and carry on with production as normal.
So how was the lockdown situation for you as a winemaker? Didn't it give you a bit of extra time to actually concentrate on what you want to do?
Look, during harvest, we still had to carry on because the grapes were still coming in.
Okay.
So we had to carry on as normal. So for us, it was basically no different. We still had to come on weekends, do our thing. And the second lockdown, everything just carried on as normal because we still have to work all the vines, do all the barrel work. Everything still needs to happen. We have to plan for bottling as if everything is still 100% outside.
Okay.
You can't really plan to bottle less right now or bottle more. So have to just carry on as normal.
Can you? How did you get involved in the wine industry?
Look, I grew up in a small town called Stellenbosch. It's about 100 kilometers from Stellenbosch. And our house was basically, we lived on a farm in the vineyards. We only rented the property there. And I grew up in between the vines. I actually went to study financial management, finished that, and then my mom said there's an opening at the winery in Stellenbosch. Maybe while you're doing nothing, because I was lazy to look for work. Start there and harvest. And I started in harvest, and I just always have a passion for wine and vines. And halfway through harvest, they gave me a permanent position. I was still an intern then. And then I just carried on. The bug bit me. Then I had to teach myself. And from Stellenbosch I moved on to Saxonburg, and from Saxonburg on 1999 I joined Jordan, and I'm still here.
So you've been there quite a while.
Yeah, it's going December is 21 years.
Wow,
so
amazing.
It's a good long time.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Jordan? I think our listeners would be interested in that.
Yeah, so this farm way back when was called Kanonko. So this was the original Kanonko. If you still look at the old Eskom invoice, it still says Kanonko farm. So Gary and Kathy Ted bought the farm in 1982. And Gary and Kathy joined them on the farm. They went to UC Davis to study winemaking as well. They came back. There was a lot of Colomar Chenin Blanc that was replaced by proper vines. The whole farm was replanted. First commercial wine, was made in 1992, 1993. Just from there on, the farm just grew, and all these lovely cultivars was planted. And now we have a variety of Cabernet, Merlot, Cab Franc. On the red side, we small block of Petit Verdot, some Shiraz. Also Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay, and then the last addition is the Certico that everyone is talking about. It's going to be up there for the future in about 2-3 years.
So it's amazing. You do produce quite a range of wines. When did you start producing bubbly?
So 2015, Wade Roger Lunt joined us in 2015, and we decided let's go for the bubbly because never done it before. And he obviously had lots of experience with bubbly from working at Seamerk with his uncle John Loubser. Yeah, and all that knowledge, put that to work. Yeah, and we made I think one of the best bubblies that year. Wade went on to win the Diners Club Young Winemaker of the Year with that wine. It's quite
that's
quite
awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
So what bubblies, what MCCs are you producing at the moment?
So we only do one.
Okay.
So we've released a 15. That was sold out. That was the first disgorgement with 24 months on the lease. And yesterday, we've done the second batch of the 2015, which is 56 months on the lease.
Wow.
So that will be on the market very soon. So, yeah. So we're going, and then we won't release a 16, but we'll do a 17 and 18, and then carry on from there.
Okay, that's interesting. So you guys, September the 1st is the Capitalistic Day, and you're part of this Capitalistic Society or Association. Are you planning anything special for as a celebration or doing anything for this day?
Because we sold out of our first batch of 15, we were not going to be ready to have the newly disgorged 56 months for that day. But we've done a lot of marketing on behalf of MCC and for MCC, just in general, just to help with that day. But unfortunately, we could not have something on the farm because we don't have the wine ready yet. But it'll be shortly after that.
Well, that's still good, right? I mean, it's wonderful that you could have won this prize with your almost like on your first try. So, how are you finding the actual process of making MCC? You personally, do you like that?
Yes, it's different to making obviously still wine. So it's obviously also a learning curve. But it's amazing to see a still wine going through the process and then see how it evolve. And the whole reason why we did the bottling into the two disgorgement, just to see how it changes over the years. I mean, that first year, as you can obviously do trials on your 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. As you go along, how the wine evolves and changes and just become better and better and better. And now 56 months, I mean, it is just amazing. Yeah, it's something to look forward to with the rest of them that's coming out.
So you've got a lot of experience in winemaking and have produced quite a few quality wines over the years. So how would you sum up your own winemaking philosophy?
I would like to call it natural. I don't know what other people call it, the way we make wine. But we look after the vines. And for me, it's important. We've got Hilton Phipson in the vineyards with Gary's hand on it as well. And the grapes come into the cellar looking amazing, and analysis looks good. And we try and do as little as possible to change the way of the grapes. They come in, they must ferment the way they must ferment. We don't work very reductively with Sauvignon Blanc or Riesling or Chardonnay. So everything is more used to oxygen. And like our white wines go to barrel without any sulfur on the lees, from 6 months to 9 months, and sometimes a bit longer on the more the reserve stuff. And then the reds is all, we work very softly with the grapes. It's all done with pump overs. And yeah, from there on it goes to barrel. We try and put everything into barrel except our no added sulfur wines. Yeah, so for me it's just a natural soft way of working with the grapes. Also, our climate, this Stellenbosch is about 3 to 4 degrees slightly warmer than us. So we are slightly cooler, and we have all these cool slopes where we plant on. And Gary played around quite a bit with when we planted. So we've got basically plantings on north, south, west, east facing slopes. So over the years, we found the perfect slopes to plant our vines. And we've made mistakes like any other farm, but then because we've got a nice big property, we can change and get it on the right spots. Yeah.
Well, that's
All I
interesting.
can say. So I think it's more of a natural approach. Work with very low sulfurs. Yeah, like our filtration is very soft. We do filter, but very soft filtration, and trying to maintain the flavors from what you get from the vineyards.
Wow. So your wines are, I mean, your wines are also distributed, I mean, almost everywhere. So where do you actually sell? Where are your wines marketed? Where do you sell your wines?
So we're about 60% in South Africa. If you're talking in South Africa wise, but and obviously Joburg quite big, Durban and Cape Town is a very big distribution area for us. A lot of our wines end up in restaurants, which is quite nice. And then overseas, we big in the UK, Belgium, Holland, not so big in America. We're still working on that. And even as far as Russia, I mean, we sell a lot of our Riesling goes to Russia, and a lot of the Riesling goes to Germany. Yeah, so we basically everywhere. Or try to be.
Selling Riesling to Germany is quite a feat.
Yeah, they like something different. They love their Rieslings and they love something different. So
interesting. So you also have a wine club called the Insiders Wine Club. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So it's limited amount of members. I think at the moment it's full, so no one can join at the moment. But yeah, we send out newsletters. We make special wines just for the wine club, for the insiders. We'll bottle 3 or 4 very special, very good barrels. That is top quality, reserve quality, and we sell it only to the insider members. And then obviously the insider members get a certain percentage discount when they enter. And yeah, throughout the year we have events on the farm where we invite insider members. We have tastings. We taste old vintages, old lineups. Quite very interesting. Last year we did a nice tasting where we had cork versus screw cap of older wines as well. People see the difference. So it's quite nice. Sometimes technical, and it's just for the average guy on the street that's very interested in the wine to learn something and to gain something through this whole insider club. We also have members in Joburg, and we'll go up and do an event on that side as well. Wow. Just to give them a taste of what's going on in Cape Town.
So yeah, so if the club's full, how do we get in, right? Can we bribe ourselves in, or what is?
If you bribe, you can get in. No, there's always a gap or 2 opening. So people must try. There's always 1 or 2 members that lapse, or we might open it up again later on. But it's just for now, we just kept it a bit. Yeah.
So the other thing is, you mentioned that you have quite a big property, and there's a lot of things going on at Jordan. I mean, can you give us just a short overview of when a visitor comes to the estate, what they can experience?
Yes. So we've got George Jardine, who's the restaurant on the farm. And most people that walk in here at night, they expect to have a nice dinner at George. And he's an amazing chef. Then we have our bakery. We call it a bakery, but it evolved from a bakery into a full-blown restaurant where we serve burgers and you name it. It's on the list, and it's linked to our tasting room. So wines is easily accessible from tasting room all the way through to the bakery. They're all linked together and they all work well together. We have 2 massive wooden decks on the lawn that overlook the dam and the whole of the valley of Stellenbosch. People love coming here on a weekend or on a weekday and just have a quick lunch, have some wine, go back to work if you still can. Yes, and then we have our tasting room with all the staff. And then we also have accommodation, very high-end accommodation with 12 guest houses you can stay on. And then at the moment, as I see this morning, there's a massive crowd of mountain bikers because we linked to the Bottleray mountain bike route.
Okay.
So it's a stopping point or starting point for people with that cycle. So they park their vehicles here, they go for a nice cycle on the route, and then they come back and enjoy either a late breakfast or sometimes lunch, or meet their families here, and then from there on they go on the rest of the day. So it's a very nice. You can come and do sport or just relax for the day and enjoy wine.
The other thing I noticed is that you have a conference event facilities.
Yes, I'm actually currently sitting in the conference room.
Mm-hmm.
It's for small conferences, and it's linked directly into the bakery kitchen, not through the kitchen, but the bakery. And yeah, it's quite nice. A lot of high-end guests book it because you can break for tea. You're in the bakery and you have this amazing views down the valley, and it's very well priced, so people enjoy it.
Okay, awesome. So I want to ask you also, I'm not sure how familiar you are with this, but I've noticed that the company also, the estate also owns a restaurant in London in High Timber Street.
Yes, very familiar with that. So
Okay.
Gary and Kathy owns that with Nadine Strauss. They partner there. Yes, and there's a direct link to us. It's an amazing restaurant. It's in the banking district on the Thames.
Mm-hmm.
Quite nice. Banks are closed on weekends, so they're fully operational through the week, and then weekends they're on weekend. So, but
Very nice.
it's very nice.
Yeah,
It's always full.
That area is very nice to capture the business market.
Yes.
Lunches. So do they? Is that the idea of that also? Is that a big? I actually haven't been to. I know where it is, but I actually haven't been there. Is this a big offset point for your wines?
It is a big offset, but they're also trying to support the whole wine industry from South Africa. So you'll find everyone's wines is on the list, and lots of winemakers from here, if they go overseas and do a wine dinner or lunch, they find most of the wines in the restaurant, and it's easy just to perform a quick wine lunch with your wines readily available for all the vintages. So we support the South African wine market with that restaurant.
Cool.
And I think a lot of people see it as a restaurant at home, away from home.
That's very interesting. So you guys also have a travel company, which I assume brings tour groups to South Africa, to your place, a 9 Yards Travel. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Not at the moment. There's obviously no traveling.
That's true, right?
Yes, but the company is, we're slowly starting up, going again. So we book accommodation, we book trips, tours, everything through 9 Yards Travel. And it's so nice because you want to do wine tours. The lady running it is based in the office, and she can quickly check restaurant availabilities, everything, and she can book the whole tour, plan everything for you. Not only in the Winelands, but anywhere in South Africa.
I was wondering about that. So you give the tourist an experience, because most people that would come to South Africa would maybe spend a week in Cape Town, but they also would probably go on safari or something if they travel, come here all the way. So it's a great service that you guys are providing.
Yeah, most people book 3-4 days in the Winelands, and then the rest is safari. So that's almost all the bookings that come through.
Okay, so that's a nice add-on business for you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah,
so
and we're touching into doing bookings for cycling tours. People that want to come and cycle here, groups of cyclists, and then from there on, tackling all the Winelands with all the nice routes, and then have accommodation to stay. Don't have to plan or worry. Everything is sorted for you.
Oh, that's awesome. You mentioned that the travel company is closed at the moment, which brings us to the next thing, which is obviously the coronavirus.
Yes.
And, it's forced all of us to rethink our business models. Do you guys have any new ideas or changes that's happening?
Luckily, about a year ago, we started thinking about, we call it just the DTC, direct to consumer. We're online, where we're directly dealing with customers to rather purchase wine online, all over the country. And then we work with delivery companies to get the wine to them. People just feel less exposed currently just to order online, have the wine delivered in a very safe manner. So that's one approach we're taking. Obviously, we want people coming to the farm. We want people enjoying the scenery in a safe way. But there is people out there that still feel like it's a bit of a risk. So we cater for that currently.
I think there's a huge advantage in this direct-to-consumer model, in that you know exactly who's buying your wine, whereas if it's bought through a restaurant or retail store, you know, they basically become your customer because you don't really know who the end consumer is. In this case,
and you have that contact details, so if you can always contact them again, you build that database. And I think in this environment now, database is probably the most valuable property you can have to sell wine.
I totally agree with you. And the other thing is that what I'm wondering is, you know, that changes your communication, because your communication with a distributor like a restaurant or a retail store, or, you know, or a third-party distributor is completely different than your communication model with the end consumer. So how do you, what platforms, and how do you actually make sure that you, I mean, you mentioned people visiting the farm, which is obviously the best way, but how do you actually, you know, make sure you communicate with that end customer all the time?
We've got a big CRM system that we record who buys, what they buy, and we have all that knowledge stored. And then we've got a lot of people on the farm that work here and from the homes, and they're constantly in contact with people. They know what they bought before, so you can buy them and say, do you have more wine? Do you need wine? So we build up quite a big database with records of what they like and what they don't like. And it's constantly phoning. It's
so you actually just follow up with people directly, which is absolutely awesome. So
yeah, and people love getting a phone call rather than an email because it's more personal. And it's not a telemarketing phone call. It's just a follow up. Do you have enough wine? And it's easy to get. I mean, it's a quick process, and the wine is at your door.
I think it's also so important that you actually do that, because you know, lots of time it's easy to get into a social media trap and just start posting stuff, but not really engaging with people that have actually, you know, you need to engage with, and actually making a personal phone call is just that little step further. I suppose you guys are very active on social media as well, of course, to get your story out.
Yes. But yeah, social media is just a visual thing. I mean, that interaction with the customer is very important.
Yeah.
I think customers enjoy it. They like
absolutely. I mean,
speak to us.
And yeah, so Sjaak, yourself, your wine journey has been interesting and long, and you've been at Jordan a few years. What's the most important thing that you've learned in your journey?
Well, this year I've learned winemaking this year is 50% planning, and the other 50% is just thinking out of the box. But every year is different. I haven't been here, 21 years. Every single year is different. Vintage is different. We've been slapped from coronavirus to extreme drought, the very difficult vintages, very positive vintages, and every year we do our best to make the best wine we can. So I've learned that you can't really plan too far ahead, but you must just be ready for what's coming. That's all I can say.
Oh, that's great. So I ask every single person that I do a podcast with to give us their own wine quote, but because it's MCC day on the 1st, you've got to come up with you've got to give us an MCC quote.
MCC quote. Memories are made from empty bottles, not full bottles. So make sure your bottle is empty when you drink bubbles. And it won't last.
Sjaak, if people want to get hold of Jordan, how do they get hold of you guys?
Currently on the website is the fastest way. and on social media. That's someone will definitely get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, our website's up and running, and it's jordanwines.com. So that's it. So now I'll give one more. I was going to say one thing. Obviously, we open up for public, and alcohol is allowed. And it's very important for us to have a bakery and a restaurant on the farm, so people don't just come here and drink wine and is irresponsible. That's why we always offer food with the wine, and we make sure everyone is responsible. I think that's important at the moment. Seeing what's going on in the news, if everyone's not responsible, we don't want the government to lock down and ban booze again, because then we're all going to lose a lot of business and a lot of jobs. It's important. So I think, especially with MCC Day, we must just keep in mind to be responsible with drinking and enjoying our wine.
I think those are wise words, and I think that it's great that I think that's a communication that needs to come from the industry, but I'm sure it will, because of the the current situation. But Jacques, thank you very much for actually spending the time with us. It's been quite interesting. I'm sure our listeners will enjoy it, and yes, have a great day, and we'll speak again.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for letting me speak on your show. Thanks, Vin. Bye-bye.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.